there are certain principles upon which the foundation of every religion, especially Christianity, is built, so that each primarily aim, which is to control or to enslave the mindset of people, will be maximized. Among many of these theories, the one we are going to be buttressing on this morning is the one they called the will of God. Christianity has succeeded in making people to understand that every activities on earth, or their predicament or their sufferings, is the effect and the will of the Almighty, because they believe that nothing can happen without the will of their God. So even the Bible made you to understand that before I formed thee in your mother's belly, I know what you will become. And the Apostle Paul began to tell you, he said, I know the thoughts I have for you, the thoughts of good and of evil. And as a result of this, Nigerians become comfortable in the state of dissolution and in the state of problems and the state of hardship of life. So this morning, I want us to buttress on this concept of the will of God. The concept of will means purpose, an agenda, a choice, a plan. If I tell that I have a will for you, it means I have a purpose for you. So when I tell you that there is a will of God for you, that means before you came into existence here, a man sat somewhere and sat in the train in his seat and begin to draft will and agenda for you. I've never seen a brainwashed attitude like this, because I'm going to journey you into examples of life so that you will understand where I'm coming from. A child was born this morning who, immediately he was born, the child died. The will of God for that person is to come into existence and die this morning. A child is being conceived in her mother's belly, and the mother flushed the child away through abortion. The will of God in heaven for that child is to be flushed away through what? Abortion in the mother's what? Womb. During Biafran War, children are born who died in abject hunger. As war is going on in Israel now, children are being bombarded every day, and somebody is trying to convince you that there is a God in heaven who has purposes and will for human beings on earth in existence. Now I'm trying to buttress to you that there is no will of God anywhere for any living human being, that all activities we see on earth are effect of man, and the suffering that we are suffering today is as a result of the bad government that you are subjected to. That God is not preparing you for anything. Many people has been programmed to believe that they're suffering today because God is preparing them for a greater height. No, sir. I will explain to you explicitly. Because the fight is not about good and bad. The fight is between knowledge and ignorance. Because the worst enemy of knowledge is not ignorance. The worst enemy of knowledge is illusion of knowledge. Beware of false knowledge. False knowledge is worse than ignorance. And that's why I have compassion for my brothers who are Christians, because some of them have a good heart, but they don't know that their good hearts are being manipulated into misguiding their priority and purpose of life to something else. We have to understand that in life, all the actions that we see in life are primarily the results and the makings of men. The results and the makings of men. I will give you a proper example. I will give you now. From the day an Italy woman or a UK woman conceived a baby, like conceived a human being just like me now speaking today, the Italy government pays the woman $800, and this woman begins to receive free medical antenatal until the day the woman gave birth. And from the day the woman gave birth, Italy government begin to pay the child of that woman $200. Some of our Nigerians who based in our blood, who gave birth in our blood, have like 5 or 4 kids in our blood. The 4 kids, each of them is receiving $200 every month, a total of $400 every month from the 4 children. So they continue to receive this $200 every day until they get to 18 years. Immediately they stop receiving this money and shift them into the working sector, and they become employed. And somebody somewhere is trying to make you understand that this is the will of God for them. Now, a Nigerian pregnant woman who you know perfectly is hawking okpa at Mpo or hawking okpa at Holy Ghost. It is the will of God for this woman to hawk okpa at Holy Ghost. And now this woman is hawking okpa, and because she doesn't have money to receive the requisite antenatal care which she deserves, she enters into the labor room and begins to bleed. Sometimes she bleeds to death, and maybe the baby survived. The woman died, and people go to meet the mother or the parents of the woman to tell her that this is the will of God. That God says that we should not question. They use it to console the family of the lost pregnant woman. The child that is born in the street have already lost her mother, his mother. So the child now has nowhere again to draw strength of life from. Because when you lose your mother in this life, if you lose your parents in this life, you know that life is so hard. People who are orphans here understood what I'm talking about. So the child become raised under little or no caring at all. The person who promised to carry this child, to take care of this child, begin to subject to this child under early childhood labor, sending this child to go and hawk. You used to watch Lord Zeus videos, where Lord Zeus is showing you videos of people, of little children below 13 years, African children, hawking in the streets. Some of them are carrying block, and this child continues to hawk this block, and this child is subjected under hardship of life. At age 15, the child starts smoking. The child joins bad cause, and somebody is trying to tell the boy that he is suffering because this is the will of God, and God is preparing him for a greater height. No, sir. No, sir. If this child